I made that video in about 5 minutes and I left it on my phone. I just didn't stare at my phone. And I went back and I realized that I was gaining ridiculous amounts of followers and all these like popular creators were commenting on it. I first downloaded TikTok in the summertime and I was in Japan actually for 2 weeks, and I thought it'd be a fun idea just to kind of document my time in Japan while I was visiting family. And I feel like it was my fourth or fifth video that kind of went like, not viral, it had like 25,000 likes. So that started just the whole like process of like gaining followers, and so I just kept making more videos about Japan, not really showing my face or like showing like my personality or anything like that. It was just showing the Americans what Japan was like and my family. From there I came back to the States. I had 20,000 followers since I left Japan, and I sat there thinking about how I was gonna like continue maybe this whole process of like influencing, because 20,000 is a lot, but it's not a lot on TikTok. So I went through all the motions of trying to do like dances or makeup videos. I did the e-boy king thing, which is kind of what I'm known for. And from there it just kind of rolled into this whole career, essentially. The first video that went relatively viral was like a trend. It was this trend for like a robot dancing thing, and I had about 600,000 likes on it and over like 5 million views. And I made that video in about 5 minutes and I left it on my phone. I just didn't stare at my phone because I don't have notifications on. And I went back and I realized that I was gaining ridiculous amounts of followers and all these like popular creators were commenting on it. And it definitely was a little scary at first because I didn't think that it was gonna happen so fast, because I've only been on TikTok for about like 7 months now. But it was a learning curve to become this kind of like internet personality. And yeah, because I'm 22 and it just happened so quickly, but it was really cool. I had to learn how to talk to people, which was weird because I do live streaming stuff like that too, and it was a whole experience, but it didn't negatively like affect me at all. It was more just a learning curve through and through. So I definitely saw the pattern of what was blowing up for me. Luckily, I'm not a creator that sticks to one certain thing, so I'm not known for one thing, which is kind of a blessing and a curse, but it let me kind of do whatever I wanted to do. So when that trend happened with like the dancing, I made 2 other videos with different remixes, and that also like pushed me up again. And that's, I guess, me taking like an active effort to like go viral again. But after that, I just tried new things, like finding new niches. So I would maybe do a makeup video and it would do relatively well. So I would try maybe a different audio or a different look and just kind of gauge it from that. It was just more like reading what my analytics said. But all in all, I was just making videos that I liked to make. And I think people just genuinely saw that I wasn't making videos to get famous. I was just making videos to have fun, and it worked out in my favor, so that was good. But yeah, I definitely had some tendencies where I was like noticing I was getting upset with my numbers, and I think that's a given with any social media, even like on Instagram, where I'm sitting here complaining, oh, I only have 10,000 likes, which 10,000 is still a lot, you know? But through and through, I've stayed pretty focused on this trail of I only make the content that I want to make because it makes me happy. And I think my audience saw that, instead of me trying to be like, I'm going to do every single trend that comes out there, I'm going to do every single audio that's popular. I try my best to essentially see these trends and make it my own and not fall into this like clout chasing kind of way. So yes, I noticed some things. Mostly I was just making content that made me happy. And I'm proud to say that, because not a lot of people can say that. I never had one video that had like 5 million likes or anything. I think my biggest video was 1 million. Definitely over time, I have noticed that I definitely like seeing the numbers and the analytics, but TikTok has helped me like realize the person that like I want to be, and kind of like my aesthetic and like who I want to portray. So in a way, TikTok has helped my mental health a lot because it made me find an outlet that I can be creative and obviously I'm judged, but then again, I am doing what I want to do. I got to quit my job. I dropped out of college to be able to do this full time, and it's changed my life. So it's definitely done more good than bad, but I do see some of the negative outlooks that can be from just social media in general. But I'm also older, which helps, because I feel like a lot of the times there's like 16-year-olds that do obsess over the numbers and obsess over like, well, this video only has 2 million likes, when that is absolutely outrageous and they don't understand that. But luckily, I feel like just because I've had a little bit more experience with social media, I've kind of dialed down on the obsessing, if that makes sense. 1000%. And I think that's also can correlate to things like, you know, children or child actresses or actors. When you're put into a situation, like, you're supposed to have like a childhood, right? Like, it is weird that these kids can have millions and millions of dollars just for making dance videos or making makeup videos online. So it kind of like alters how they view the world. Because for me, it's like I went to college, I lived in Germany, I like did a lot of things when I was a kid, and I feel a lot more grounded going into like social media, knowing who I am, because I had the time to figure out who I was before I blew up on the internet. Because these kids usually they sit here and they still have so much life to live, but it's so different because they have the money and the fame and these people telling them or bullying them or things like that. So it's definitely, I'm lucky, but there's a lot of kids that do it really great. Like they haven't changed who they are and they're still growing as a person, but there are obviously a lot of influencers that have either fell off or changed completely because of social media. So but yeah, if I was 16 and I blew up, it would be a very much different experience. I probably would have a lot of like doubt and just being scared, because the internet can do that to kids. I think just knowing who's out to be your friend or who's out to get something out of you because of your following, that's something that's a little bit of tea, but I mean that's something that I definitely see a lot, because I've had to realize that some people don't necessarily want to be your friend just because you're cool. They want to be your friend because you have a certain amount of followers or you have an influence or they want something out of you. And once again, luckily I'm old enough to see that and kind of filter out those people. But it did take a lot of like learning, because I'm like, oh my god, all these people want to be my friend, that's crazy. But you later realize, oh, it's purely on the fact that they can get something from me instead of actually wanting to know me as a person. So that's something that I learned. Even like now, I struggle through it, but it's just learning who you can trust and how to navigate like this social construct like inside of the internet, because it is very different from like meeting people from school, you know? Like having internet friends is completely different, but that's something I feel like a lot of influencers struggle with. My biggest advice is to kind of look at red flags. I feel like when someone brings up your following or the things that you've done only through the internet, or the people you know and the people and the things that you've done. So if someone comes up to you and they're like, well, because I've had experiences where people would not know who I was, who I am, or anything like that, and they would just come up to me like, oh, whatever, you're just somebody, and then they ask me what my ats are, like what are my socials, and they see that I have influence. Their attitude completely changes and they're all of a sudden super nice to you, super chill. I feel like if you can see that from the start and understand that that is a huge red flag, that's just something to keep in mind, because it happens a lot more often than you think. But just, I don't want to say don't trust anyone. Trust people, really do trust people, but just be wary, honestly, because the internet is such a wild place now. It's hard to not give your whole heart into it and just trust everyone. But yeah, that's my biggest piece of advice, I think. And just make content that you are proud of, you know.